Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. On the 18th of February 2024, I uploaded a video where I said, watch Ukrainian soldiers literally running from Avdiivka, the war that shouldn't have started. It's right here. And YouTube had a problem with it, but I didn't give a damn, so I uploaded it nevertheless. I said, you know what? What are you going to do? Ban me? What? I'm not saying I'm not doing anything wrong here. So it was a video that I posted coming from the Russians showing the Ukrainian troops running, some of them running and retreating from Avdiivka. YouTube did not like it. I didn't give a fuck. Now we have the Kiev Independent, which is a Ukrainian media outlet, coming and telling us the same thing and telling us the awful thing that Ukrainian troops left behind wounded in Avdiivka. This happens. I'm surprised that they did not eliminate those wounded comrades, because sometimes they do that. Not they, the Ukrainians, in a war I'm talking. As awful as it seems, or it sounds, this is not something that during the war certain people don't do. Let me show you this article coming from the Kiev Independent, as I said. And it says, Ukrainian soldiers recall retreat from Avdiivka on foot, leaving their wounded behind. I saw a little clip of supposedly a Ukrainian mother talking with a Ukrainian soldier wounded who was laying on his back somewhere, and he said that he can't, and all this was filmed by the sister of the wounded soldier, so the daughter of the mother, who was talking on a FaceTime or something with her son. And the son, the wounded son, soldier, was telling her that in Avdiivka that he's wounded, he cannot feel his legs, and he was like in a kind of like a hospital, thinking about something in the underground. He said that the Ukrainian forces just left them over there. And the mom was all crying. What do you mean? I said, just left us here. And now you have this. I don't want to make a movie on that, a movie is coming soon. A video on that one, because I said, well, if this guy had a problem with me making a video on those guys running and calling it as it was, you could see it. And I said, I'm gonna post this one. These guys will just be upset that I'm telling you the truth again. So we have here Ukrainian soldiers recall retreat. So yes, and leaving their wounded behind. And this comes from the Kiev Independent. And it says, Donetsk Oblast, as Russian forces closed in on Ukrainian pocket southeast of Avdiivka, infantryman Oleg heard the order clearly. There will be no evacuation. Leave 300, which is the wounded. The evacuation was not done, and the retreat was hasty. And I think these guys were. That is a crime, but they say, well, we did this to save life. No, you should have done this maybe 2 or 3 months ago when you could have orderly retreat. I think it's just a crime, but hey. It says Oleg was among the last to flee the nearly encircled Zenit, a key position that has held off the Russian advance towards Avdiivka from the south since 2014. Yeah, okay, because they were fighting over there in 2014. In a bunker at the Zenit, a former air defense base, Oleg and his older comrade Vasil said their goodbyes to the wounded. Of the 6 lying on the floor, Oleg was particularly close to Ivan, who he described as a young, sincere man who was hoping to see his family soon. Well, it's okay, he went over there to fight for these interests here. The clock was ticking. It was 6 a.m., February 15. The Russians were drawing closer. After what felt like a half-an-hour conversation, Oleg and Vasil left the bunker in a small group. It was impossible to carry the wounded through a 2.5 kilometer journey to Avdiivka, a small industrial city on the verge of falling. Oleg's own survival was also uncertain, as Russians only left 100-meter gap in their encirclement that we are not told about, that Ukrainian soldiers could use to flee. 120 meters is about, let's say, 130 yards. That's about 400 feet. Brushing away emotions and focusing on survival, Oleg, a young man from Kharkiv Oblast, began to make his way towards the city, nearly surrounded by Russian forces. And I'm quoting, "We were just left there by our leadership," end quote. This is what the Ukrainians say. Oleg told the Kiev Independent a few days later in a Donetsk Oblast town further from the front line. "We defended the Zenit strong point until the end." Your sacrifices, your sacrifice, my friends. And this should not have happened. Should not have happened. Yeah, you defended Avdiivka like this. Great. On February 17, Ukrainian Commander-in-Chief Syrsky, the Russian Commander-in-Chief of the Ukrainian forces, announced Ukraine's withdrawal from Avdiivka, a city once home to about 35,000 people located just outside Russian-occupied Donetsk. So let's see what we have here. The withdrawal from Avdiivka was late and disorganized, remember? And this comes from the Kiev Independent, not from the Russians. The Russians said it was disorganized, and these guys said, no, it was orderly done. I know it was disorganized because they were sacrificed. These guys were sacrificed, forcing many soldiers to make their escape by foot under heavy shelling. When I posted that video over there with the Ukrainians running, that's exactly what was happening. 4 servicemen with Ukraine's 110th Separate Mechanized Brigade, a large unit that manned the defense of Avdiivka and its outskirts, told the Kiev Independent, running. While agreeing that the Avdiivka defense was ineffective in grinding down Russia's offensive capabilities that could be used elsewhere, Western military experts also criticized Ukraine for carrying out the retreat too late. It was way too late. Military analysts pointed out that Ukraine has made similar costly mistakes in Bakhmut, Soledar, Severodonetsk. I said that, and in Mariupol, because in Mariupol, if you remember, the Russians captured about 2,600 human beings. Because I don't know if some of them were military, some of them were wounded, some of them were military Azov battalion and so on. So let's see what else. A 1.5 liter bottle of drinking water was what we had for 3 people for 4 days at least, said, recalling the dire survival conditions. It just can't even think about it. So we covered for hours, held a defense while others were trying to retreat, but they were bombarded with artillery. It was unbelievable. And they left those guys in Avdiivka, part of Avdiivka, done right here. Zenit was right in this area. So they ran towards Avdiivka and then they got out. And it was a crime, my friend. All right, it says the 6 wounded, waited until the 15th, thinking they would be taken away by evacuation, Oleg said. And I'm quoting again, on the 15th, they were told there would be no evacuation. The Russian forces had breached the key road to Avdiivka by then, thwarting evacuation attempts and striking anything that passed with tanks and artillery. Yeah, and these guys, when they say, well, no, it's still there, the evacuation, we knew it was not. They couldn't do it. Getting to Avdiivka via the main road became impossible even before the withdrawal from the city, according to Kotsukon. Making it out alive. Yes, my friends, making it out alive. Oleg and Vasily said that no more than 40% of their company made it out alive, through declining to disclose the number of original troops before the encirclement now. At the current stage in the war in Ukraine, infantry companies typically consist of 60 to 80 people. 40%, my friends. That was, as I said many times, as it was a crime. So we'll see what the Russians will do with they said there were at least or about 1,000 prisoners, between, I think it was 800 and 1,000. The Russians did not count them yet, and when they're going to do it, they're going to tell us, obviously, an inflated number. So it sounds like the Ukrainians fucked up even worse than they did. And I'm not talking about Oleg and Vasily, I'm talking about those guys in Kiev and elsewhere here. So, yes, they were encircled. The escape route was blocked. They ran ran like this on foot. They left the wounded over there behind. It was the disorganized running away. I don't want to say retreat, disorganized. All these things the Russians said that happened, and the other guys denied. They said it's orderly, everybody comes nicely, nothing, we're good, just on time, we're doing this to save lives, and so on. That was all a lie. I knew that, I said it, and right now I think it's a confirmation coming from their own sources, the Kiev Independent. I don't know how these guys are still functioning. Maybe because, I don't say it, but maybe it's because there are some factions inside. I mean, there are some factions inside a Ukrainian, I don't want to call it leadership, the guys in charge. And definitely Klitschko, who's the mayor of Kiev, could have something in this with his German backers. Not Boris Becker, but with his backers, his sponsors. I think Klitschko is the Germans' boy, and I think Zelensky is the Americans' boy. It doesn't mean that the Germans have any power, but I think the Americans are still protecting or not eliminating the Germans' boy as of now. If Klitschko is to go, he's not going to be going like that. He's going to be told to leave, and he's going to leave on his own, like General Zaluzny, which is who is where? Where is he at? I don't know if he's still alive. I saw a picture. I was looking about 5 days ago. He showed up with a book or something. We'll see. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.